Romero says Gary Neville was stupid to criticise his centre-back partnership with Manchester United defender Martinez. Gary Mabbutt was rushed to hospital after suffering a serious accident whilst in South Africa. Spence has been given the green light to join Inter, and Tottenham Hotspur have rejected an offer from Ipswich Town for Mikey Moore. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the Daily Tottenham News Headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. I'm leader Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's get into it. Here are the main headlines today. On Wednesday evening, Spence was subbed off in the 96th minute as England lost 2-1 to Argentina in the World Cup semi-final. Romero played the full match during the game. Excuse me. He celebrated in Jordan Pickford's face, and at full time was seen celebrating right in front of England's Jude Bellingham. Marcus Senesi was an unused sub. BBC Sport have stated that Tottenham and Argentina defender Romero says Gary Neville was stupid to criticise his centre-back partnership with Manchester United defender Martinez in the build-up to Argentina's dramatic 2-1 World Cup semi-final win over England. Former Manchester United fullback Neville described Romero and Martinez as the best worst centre-half pairing in the world. Talking to outlet DS, Romero said after the game, England won, Argentina 2. The only thing that I hope for is that when I retire, I'm not that stupid. Hopefully I won't criticise a player or anyone, because at the end of the day, we are doing our best for our national team. Sometimes it goes right for us, sometimes badly. We are just happy to be in a World Cup final again. I think we are making history. For us, it is something really huge, and we feel for the significance of this shirt like no one else. Manchester United defender Martinez had his own saying, explaining, "We're used to people always talking about us. It seems like they're doing it, and we respond on the pitch. That's always with respect." Neville, who won 85 caps for England and works for ITV and Sky, commented on the pair on the Overlap podcast and said, "They seem to give a goal away between them every single game. But you watch them, they are scoring goals, heading the ball, they're literally everywhere. It's incredible. I call them the best worst centre-half pairing in the world, because they are absolutely at times can be unbelievable, but the next it's sublime to the ridiculous." The Daily Mail have stated that Spurs legend Gary Mabbutt was rushed to hospital after suffering a serious accident whilst in South Africa. Michael Bridge from Sky Sports has provided an update on this, stating Gary Mabbutt is recovering from an accident and Tottenham Hotspur are in contact with him. He is resting and is waiting medical clearance to fly home. Former Spurs teammate Mickey Hazard has stated he is currently in hospital awaiting a treatment on a blood clot in his calf. He is not allowed to fly until the 24th at the earliest to England. Please send your best wishes to lift his spirits. Best wishes, Mabsy. You fought bigger battles than this and won. La Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy reports that Spence has been given the green light to join Inter, and even if Tottenham are able to open to a sale, their asking price is €35 million. Tottenham fullback Spence has become Inter's new target, according to Thursday's Gazzetta dello Sport newspaper. Spence is open to joining, so personal times are not expected to be an issue. Tottenham are also open to offers, yet Spurs currently demand €35 million for the versatile fullback, who can either play on the right or left flank. Spence is expected to be Roberto De Zerbi's second choice option at right back in the 26-27 season, with Spanish international Pedro Porro picked as right back. According to Gazzetta, Inter had inquired about Pedro Porro earlier this summer, but found Tottenham uninterested in the Spaniard side. Porro signed a contract extension until 2031 in the North London side this past June. Spence, 25, is under contract with Tottenham until June 2029, but the club holds an option to extend for a further campaign. The Football Insider have stated that Tottenham Hotspur have rejected an offer from Ipswich Town for Mikey Moore. The Tractor Boys submitted a loan offer for the 18-year-old winger ahead of their return to the Premier League. However, the North London club knocks it back as they do not want to send the young forward out to a side they expect to be battling relegation. Tottenham have told Moore that he will be loaned out again this campaign. Spurs are hopeful of finding the club for the teenager before the pre-season programme begins, with their first friendly set to take place on the 22nd of July against MK Dons. Another loan move outside of England could be on the cards, with there being strong interest from clubs in the Netherlands as well as German sides. Spurs have rejected an initial bid of around £38 million from Nottingham Forest for Lucas Bergvall. Forest are set to make a second offer, with Bergvall their number one target after the sale of Elliot Anderson. Spurs' valuation is understood to be £50 million. So, my thoughts on some of these stories, well, of course, we have to start off with the World Cup semi-final and, of course, performances from Jed Spence. I think, let's be clear, I think Jed Spence has really covered himself in a lot of glory this campaign. I think he's really grown in the role and shown exactly what he's capable of. You know, in that game, which I mean, I'm sure most of us sat and watched, we could see it coming, couldn't we? We could see the goal coming, and Thomas Tuchel will have to take a good look at himself in terms of the tactics that he deployed and the substitutes he made at the end of that game. But we did see Christian Romero celebrating in front of Pickford and Bellingham and so on. And it shows how much Argentina means to those players, for sure. As a Tottenham fan, you don't really want to see your player behaving that way against your national team. But when it's national team versus national team, I guess it takes that away. But this is Argentina. We know what Argentinians are like, the kind of character that they've got, and I think that's what's been shown in these comments by Romero. I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying, but I think he's missing the point that I think Gary Neville was being very complimentary at the same time as giving a sideward swipe at the same time. I'm not a big fan of Gary Neville, so I don't ever take on board what he says too much. I think he likes the sound of his own voice, but he does make a valid point. Argentina and Romero, for instance, do make lots of mistakes, but they can be absolutely brilliant at the same time and score great goals as well. I mean, Romero scored a fair few goals for Spurs last season, despite it being a bit of a poor season for him overall. But it's just disrespectful, isn't it? It's just one of those. You just, as an England fan, and if you're not an England fan, it don't bother you, but as an England fan, you don't want your own players being disrespectful to your national team. Okay, it's their character, it's the way it is, and we'll kind of move on from it. Some sad news about Gary Mabbott being rushed into hospital. I hope he's really doing well. Seems like the issue he's got is the blood clot, which is what Mickey Hazard has been talking about. So hopefully that will be able to be dealt with his with medication, and he'll be able to fly back to England and to get the care he needs. So I send my best wishes to Gary Mabbott, to the captain. Great player, great man, does an awful lot for fans and stuff, and deserves a lot of love and a lot of credit. So yeah, if you want to send him a message on his Twitter and all the rest of it, do that, because I'm sure he'd appreciate it. And this story about Jed Spence going to Inter, I'm a bit disappointed about it. I think Jed Spence has really shown what he's all about, and I get it. He wants to play as the main man. He wants to be the main man. But at the same time, you've got Pedro Porro, who's had a great tournament as well, in the World Cup final. So you've got two right backs there. Now Jed Spence can play left back as well. So there are going to be opportunities for sure. I think he has to look at the bigger picture in terms of Tottenham. We are aiming to get back into Europe, and you want the best players to still be around. There are, or have been, question marks over his character, but to be honest with you, I'm not really 100% sure on that. You see the stories and all the rest of it. How much of it is true, I don't know. He is a young man with plenty of money. He's got swag. He believes in himself. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? He's at the top of his game, playing in World Cup semi-final for England. So it's a real difficult one, but character does come into it. You've got to have the right attitude to fit in with the right group. I mean, Thomas Frank had the no dickheads policy and so on, and I think that's absolutely right. It's probably the only thing I agree with Thomas Frank about is making sure you've got the right sort of characters around your club and around your team. But yeah, I for one would be sad to see Jed Spence leave. But again, you can't be too nostalgic. If he's not going to play and you're not going to use him and you're going to reinvest that money, you're going to make sure you've got cover. Because for me, I don't see who's covering if he goes. So, yeah, strange decision for me. And of course, the story about Bergvall, another one I'd really like to stick around to see where it takes him. I'd like him to stay and fight for his place, fight for his position, and see where it takes him, because there will be opportunities. We've seen it. He didn't come to Tottenham expecting to play the amount of football that he played, but he did. So what's to say he's not going to get more opportunities? So again, I think it's short-sighted by Bergvall, especially if he went to somewhere like Nottingham Forest. With all due respect to Nottingham Forest, they may have been higher than Spurs last season, but I'm not expecting that to continue. So a little bit short-sighted if he does want to go there. But again, £50 million, a lot of money. But if you start selling all your young stars now, where does that leave you for the future? If everything goes Pete Tong with De Zerbi, where do you go from there? Anyway, that's my view on that. Mikey Moore getting another loan. For me, if he's going to the Netherlands or Germany or whatever, I'd prefer he went to Dortmund. I think it's a really good club. It's brought through some good players, your Bellinghams and so on. So I personally think that would be a good move for him. It's a shame that he's not going to get into the Tottenham side proper, which suggests to me that they're still going to go for a left-sided winger, because at the moment all we've got is Tell. So that kind of suggests that there may be something more in that. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for listening and for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm leader Dorset Spur. Pop over and say hi on my channel. It'd be great to have you there. If not, no problem. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.